恩雨移動，一個傳達祝福嘅流動平台，一點鼓勵，一點關懷，一點安慰，隨傳隨到。快啲嚟掃一掃呢個 QR code，下載最新推出嘅恩雨移動 Apps， 免費攞迎新禮品啦！
佢親眼見到家人被殺。
I saw every single act how they killed my father.
佢從死人堆裏面爬出嚟。
I think it took me about half an hour or so to get rid of the dead bodies over me.
長大之後，佢翻去揾殺死佢父母嘅兇手。
I could feel that his body almost like a vibration. He's so shaky.
位於柬埔寨暹粒市嘅吳哥窟，除咗有令人讚歎嘅美景之外，亦都被聯合國教科文組織列入世界文化遺產，係柬埔寨人引以為傲嘅地方。就連柬埔寨國旗亦都以呢個地方做標誌。從吳哥窟，我哋可以睇到柬埔寨曾經輝煌嘅歷史，而從柬埔寨嘅歷史，亦都令我哋了解到呢個國家曾經發生令人震驚嘅事。從1975至到1979年，赤柬3年零8個月嘅執政期間，柬埔寨共產黨以暴力強制手段清洗城市，並且展開全國大屠殺。喺唔到4年嘅時間裏面，柬埔寨全國近1/4嘅人口，大約200萬人被屠殺，遍野哀鴻，舉世震驚，人民嘅鮮血流遍全國各地，係柬埔寨人至今都難以忘記嘅噩夢。辛奎撒正係呢次大屠殺裏面嘅幸存者。雖然佢當時只係一個小朋友，但係佢仍然深刻記得當時嘅情況。
One early morning, I went fishing with my younger brother. On my way back home, I saw Khmer soldiers that were sharpened knives and axes and switchblades. There was a young teenager came to my house and inviting my father for a meeting. There I saw they arrest my father. They bound his arm backwards, and then my father confronted him. He said, "What is wrong with me?" One of them responded to him that, "Today, we will destroy you." And when I saw that, I was so frightened and ran back home, trying to hold on to my younger brother and sister. I could tell that that moment, four of us tried to embrace each other. But the fear of being killed was so terrible. We could hardly stand still, we were so shaky, so tremble. Suddenly, soldiers came to my house, arrest me. They bound my arm backward. By then, I had almost like 2 years old baby brother. They decided to release me and allow me to carry my baby brother, put him on oxen's cart, and drove to the jungle with a lot of kids and a professor and other teacher. So I think when we got to the jungle, about 15 minutes prior to the killing, that time they were digging the grave, was not ready for us. I got off from the ox carts and carried my baby brother to my father. Look through his eyes. I could tell that my father was absolutely broken, sorry. Somehow he forced himself to say a few good words. One of the words he said was that I love you. In our culture, we seldomly practice verbal affection. That was my first time, my last time. I remember my father said. It really meant a lot to my life. By the time they finished the grave, they took my father first. And he turned back, he said that we will come together and we will go together as a family. They make him kneel down in front of the grave, try to kneel down, they bust him from behind, fall into the pit. He was screaming, kicking. A soldier jumped in, tried to butcher him. So I saw every single act how they killed my father. Professor was there, he tried to run away from that. They tripped him down, he's screaming, they collapsed at him, grabbed his feet, threw him to the pit. A lot of kids were screaming. It's my turn then. I carried my baby brother to the grave, laid him on my left side, and knelt down. Someone bust me from behind. I was falling on the pit. Then I heard they collapsed my baby brother at least 4 or 5 times. The first 3 times I could hear his scream so loud. All I could remember was that there's a lot of body was falling over me. Blood comes through my nose and my mouth, and I could hardly breathe. I thought I would finish. By then, they tried to bury. I could feel the soil topping in my body. When I tried to bury, and then someone said, "Don't bury yet, there's some more enemies need to be finished in this place." He went to pick up my mother, my sister, and other women who went to work in the farm early mornings. I think it took me about half an hour or so to get rid of the dead bodies over me. I didn't know what to do. And that time I was just a kid. I was so young to understand. I just lying on dead bodies, waiting for them to come to finish me. While I was lying there, I saw the bird coming into the graves. For some reason, I was so disturbed by that, and I picked up a piece of wood straight at the bird. And the bird come back 3 times. And every time when the bird lies the grave, I observed that the bird flew only one direction, which is eastward of the grave. If I were to look from my own perspective right now, I believe the Holy Spirit sent a bird to save my life. So I climbed on the grave and moved on to the east direction of the birds. Then about 5 or 6 minutes or so, I saw they were dragging my mother, my sister, and other women approaching from the west side of the grave. You know what, if I were to stay there 3 to 5 more minutes, I would encounter them. There I saw they kill my mother, my sister, and other women. After they finished killing 33 people on that day, they was not aware that I was alive. Then they went back to the village. I went back to the grave. I think I cried, I screamed until I lost consciousness. The trauma was so powerful that took over my life, and I could not cope with that. I made 3 promises in my life. The first one that I made was I wanted to take revenge from my family. If I could not fulfill the first one, I wanted to dedicate my life to be a Buddhist monk. And the last promise that I made was that if I could not fulfill the first 2 promises, I would like to go far, far away from Cambodia. And then I went back to live in the village, and then I found the man in the village tried to help me to escape all of that. Anyway, it's a long journey that I survived. By 1979, and then I returned back to live with my auntie, returned back to live in a city, and then I went to school. It was so difficult for me to cope with my study. And that time I suffered what we call post-traumatic stress disorder. Unfortunately, no one in the society understanding how I went through mentally, emotionally, and psychologically. And it was so difficult for me to cope with that. Nightmares, flashback, and anxiety, and feeling insecure, and it was so difficult to live with that PTSDs. However, I strive my best to cope with my study. When I complete my study, I decided to join the police force. My desire to become a policeman was very simple, so that I could return back to that village with a gun in my hands. I want to suck their blood. I want to take revenge. I was absolutely determined to take revenge. Before I reached the village, I met a farmer there, and he said that there was a lot of Khmer soldiers there. I was not convinced. However, I sent one of my men as a spy and to check it. And he came back, he said, Alexa, there was a lot of Khmer soldiers there. I could not go to the village. I know the Khmer soldiers, they were good in fighting. So I returned back home. I was just filled with depression, guilty, anger, disappointment, bitterness. And it was so difficult to live with that. Every evening I need to drink so that I could fall asleep. Going to bed is almost like hell for me. Flashback, nightmares, and all kinds of things that's so difficult for me to cope with it. I think at that time I was a policeman. I was not allowed to become a Buddhist monk. It was communist and religious does not exist in a society, which means that I could not fulfill my second promise. The first promise, the second promise. So finally I tried to fulfill my last promise, which was to escape from Cambodia to Thailand. I was a very silly guy, and I went through, I got a few friends who went with me to Thailand through the borders and the jungle. We walked in the jungle for 2 days and 2 nights. Before I reached the camps, there was a bad guy, so I didn't know it was Khmer soldier or Khmer resistance or whoever, I didn't know. When they saw us, they shoot at us, and being a policeman, I know how to run. So I got out by myself, and I ran and ran. I think I ran about a few hours. When I was running there, I saw a lot of dead bodies in the jungle, but I could not figure out why and how and what. I just kept running and running and run and run. So when I got out of that, I saw 3 men from a far distance, and I ran toward them. I could see that they tried to make a sign like this, which was, they tried to tell me, stop running, stop running. When I got to them, they asked me, where you come from? So I told them I was being chased, somebody shoot at me a few hours ago, I just kept running. And one of them said that was impossible. Then I asked him why. He said that I ran through minefield. There were at least 2 million landmines on the ground. No one ever come out of that jungle alive. So after I heard that, I almost had a heart attack, you know. And I was just, oh my goodness. So they took me to the camp. And then by 1985, I was able to get to refugee camp in Thailand. When I was in the camp, I was able to correspond with my cousin who lived in California. And I wrote to him, and he wrote me back and told me the person named Jesus. So I wrote him back that your Jesus cannot buy food. I need a real US dollar to buy food, not Jesus. Send me the money. Well, I kept telling me Jesus did that. Anyway, when I was in a camp, my biggest dream was that one day I would be able to go to live in California to start life again. Unfortunately, after waiting there for 5 years, I was rejected by INS, which means I was not allowed to go to live in California with my cousin. And that time, I realized that I found the greatest enemy of my life. It was hopelessness. What was the point of living with hopelessness? There's nowhere to go. And it was so difficult for me to live that.
就喺絕望嘅時候，辛奎撒開始去教會。
At that time, I started going to church from time to time, but my heart was not there yet. And one evening, I got out of my house and knelt down. I said my prayer. I said, God, if you take me to Canada to start my new life again, I will give my life to you.
未有抱太大期望嘅辛奎撒嘗試申請去加拿大，冇諗到申請獲得批准。
So May 15, 1989, at 3 o'clock, I arrived at Toronto International Airport. I would never forget my prayer when I was in a camp. So when I got to Canada, the first thing I was looking for is Bible. I think by then I realized that I want to follow the Lord. And I went to church and start my Bible study. And then I went to study it at Ontario Bible College. It was OBC then.
At that point, it was still very traumatized and very troubled and trying to sort through the things that had happened to him.
When I found out who Rexa was and what it went into this guy, and I remember being shocked and just amazed at how this really warm and delightful person had gone through so much. That in those years, there were several times that Rexa confided that he was having physical problems and sleeping problems, and knowing that there still was some suffering going on. And it was in the early years of him sorting this all out and finding healing and trying to understand how God allowed this kind of suffering and incorporating it with his Christian faith and all of that.
醫治嘅過程漫長同埋痛苦，而過程裏面，辛奎撒經歷好多掙扎，但係佢能夠從上帝嘅愛裏面得到安慰。不過，仲有一件事，佢一直都未能夠完全釋懷。為咗可以放低呢件事，辛奎撒做咗一個唔容易嘅決定，就係返到柬埔寨佢家人被殺嘅村落，揾返當年嘅兇手。
I returned back to the village where my father was killed and to meet my family killer. That time, when they killed my family, 6 of them was involved in killing my family. Only 2 survived. So I went to see the guy who killed my father. The guy also killed my mother.
I mean, at the first time, I feel nervous too, so scared. What is going to happen? And he just went. I mean, a few people and people who use like cruel during that time, so I'm so scared for him.
It's easy to say I forgive you from Canada to Cambodia, but in reality, standing in front of a man that took my family forever away to say I forgive you, that was absolutely painful in my life. I offered him a camel scar put on his shoulder. I said, this is a symbol of my forgiveness for you. Then I gave him my shirt, a symbol of my love for you, and the Bible, the symbol of my blessing for you. After that, I gave him a hug. When I hugged him, I could feel that his body almost like a vibration. He's so shaky. I said to him, 28 years ago, when you took my family to the jungle, this is how I felt. But today I came back as ambassador of Jesus Christ. It to set you free. And then I went to see the guy who killed my mother. I went to look for him in 3 different times in different villages. Nobody was willing to tell me. Finally, I met his wife. She broke down and wept and cried. And she said, please don't kill my husband. So I went she trusted me. She told me, and I went to see him and sit down and talk to him. So I did the same thing. I offered him a Campbell scars as a symbol of my forgiveness for him, the shirt, symbol of my love, and the Bible as a symbol of my blessing for him. And I would sit down and talk, and he said that, why your God is so good that help you to forgive. You need to realize that I was given order to kill your family. If I did not do it, they would kill me. But you know what? I was wrong. You know what he said? Will you forgive me? The moment I heard that, I just broke down, I wept, I cried. I cried in the sense that I had accomplished one of the most difficult missions in my life, which was to forgive my family killer. I actually set myself free.
在你名山谷中，你领我走出来。跌跌又撞撞，是你扶我站起来。我满身是伤痕，你将我抱起来。我在你的怀中苏醒过来。
辛奎撒得到從未有過嘅輕省。佢知道透過上帝嘅愛，佢能夠饒恕並且係得着釋放嘅生命。亦都因為上帝嘅愛，佢決定放棄加拿大舒適嘅生活， 留低落嚟服侍柬埔寨人。
I built a school for the people there. The school stands as a symbol of my forgiveness to the people there. You know what? If I were to return back to that village as a policeman, there would be a killing field in that village. But thankfully, God prevented me not to go back when I was a policeman. And I returned back as ambassador of Jesus Christ. I brought light into the darkness. Then I built a school there, and 5 of the kids come from the guy who killed my family study there. I think last year I heard that one of the students who went to that school studied to become a medical doctor. It was overjoyed for me to hear that. It was a very primitive culture because at that school, now the girl had a chance to become a medical doctor one day. So it was, I think for me, it's a joy to hear that.
除咗興建學校同年輕一代同行之外，辛奎撒亦都身體力行，運用佢心理學嘅專業，幫助一班曾經受過創傷嘅柬埔寨人。希望呢一班人能夠好似佢一樣喺上帝嘅愛裏邊得到醫治。
That was Rick's gift of reconciliation to the village and to those people. Yeah, how do you account for that except for saying it's a work of God in Rick's life? It's just an amazing work of God.
It's really incredible to see it. The things that God has done in him are miraculous, not just the miracles that happened with the circumstances surrounding the killings, but the miracle of who he's become and his love for his people. He said, I want to be buried with my people. I want to retire and be buried in Cambodia. And we were shocked. That was a different Rick, and that tells you the depth that his walk with God has gone and how much that healing is genuine. He's not going back there with the fear and trepidation of bringing healing or forgiveness because he thought he had to. Now it comes out of saying, no, you know what? These were my people and they are my people, and I will live with them and I will die with them. I found that really moving. That's a change. And I don't know when that happened, and I don't know if he was able to articulate that either, but that's new.
回望自己嘅經歷，辛奎撒俾自己一個總結。
There's no freedom in life if I don't forgive. Because of that conviction in my life, I learned to forgive. Forgiveness is not how I set a person free. I actually set myself free. A lot of the misconception of the forgiveness, people tend to say that I forgive you, I let you go, I've set you free. That's not real. You forgive, you actually set yourself free. In my case, when I forgive, I set myself free. But it's not easy. I don't want to just tell people that you forgive, you wake up one morning, you wake up, I go forgive. No, it's not that. It's a long, painful process. But I know in my heart, by the grace of God, I set myself free.
當辛奎撒願意跟從上帝嘅教導去寬恕別人嘅時候，佢就能夠得到最終嘅釋放，並且活出真正自由嘅生命。
多謝大家收睇《恩雨之聲》。如果想更多了解呢一個節目，歡迎打嚟我哋嘅熱線電話31064444，或者瀏覽我哋嘅節目網頁